been a while. Welcome back to 52 at 52. I'm Matt McDowell, and I'm telling you stories about the 52 jobs I've had in my 52 years on the planet. Yeah. Sure, let's go with that. Let's go with 52 years. This is, welcome to job number 28, production assistant. Usually, in any sort of endeavor, you start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. You don't start as the film director and work your way to the bottom. I did. I started, if you remember last job number 27, film director. That's the top. That's the best. And so this next job is number 28, production assistant, the very, very bottom. This is the guy who goes out and gets coffee, does whatever you want. So just a little recap of where my life is at this time. I'm coming back from Utah. I'd been living in Utah for 6 months while my wife at the time was going to hairdressing school. There's also Osmond Studios there. They weren't called Osmond Studios, but there were some sort of studios there. And I would go there every week kind of begging for a job, and I got nothing. It was just, I was like, I directed a movie, for crying out loud. Nothing. So I moved back to Los Angeles, and I made one phone call, and I got a job as a production assistant. That was what's great about Los Angeles. You make one phone call, boom, got a job on Class Clowns. This was a TV show where they took Bill Cosby, Roseanne Barr, and Howie Mandel, and they said, these guys were funny back in high school. Let's have them go back to high school and tell us stories about how funny they were in high school. So I'll talk about the tasks that you have as a production assistant. And it was good for me because they were varied, and it was like different every day. For example, okay, Matt, you need to go down, and it's Howie Mandel's birthday tomorrow. You need to buy him a birthday present. Okay, I hate to say it, but I kind of knew the name Howie Mandel, but I didn't know his shtick. I didn't know his comedy. I hadn't watched St. Elsewhere, but so I knew he was a kind of celebrity. I know him better now, but at the time I was like, okay, he's a comedian guy. So I go to this place, and I think I got him the collected Abbott and Costello, the complete works. I got him that. When I was working on Class Clowns, I would drive around a lot, post-production stuff. It was post-production by this point, and I was driving here and there and picking up presents and doing whatever they needed to be done. And at one point, there was this huge storm coming in, just crazy storm. And I'm thinking, I know my way around the valley. I'm going to cut down through the golf course. I'll get off the freeway because the freeway was just almost flooded. So I go down to the golf course, and it is a lake down there. No one's getting, there's a car that's submerged halfway. So I turn around and I come back up. And as I'm coming up the on-ramp, there's a fire truck coming down. And the fire truck is going to rescue those people whose car's flooded. That night, I'm watching the news, and I see that very same fire truck. It got stuck as well, and the water's up to the roof of it. So, dangerous. Production assistant, danger job. So as I was doing this, one of the things I had to do at one point was I had to deliver one of the writers, because Roseanne Barr, everybody else just talked about the stories, but she had to have like a write some stuff, and so they hired this writer, and I had to go deliver his check, and then I think I had to wait around and get him to sign some tax forms. So I go to this guy's apartment, and and he's like, I see him, and he's like younger than me. He's like a couple years younger than me. And I gotta admit, I was a bit jealous. It's like, wow, this guy's getting, and I saw the check. No, I didn't see the check because I just handed him the check. But while he's there, he opens it up, and he's talking on the phone, and he goes, I only got $5,000 for that thing with the something. And then my agent's gonna take this much, and he was kind of complaining about, and meanwhile, I'm thinking, wow, I think I was getting $75 a day, or maybe I was getting $100 a day, or maybe I was getting $200 a week. That sounds more like it. I wasn't getting anything. I was like, wow, that sounds like pretty good money to me. I was a little jealous because he's got this writing gig, and I guess they say, he knows Tom Arnold? Tom Arnold? Yeah. This story has been bouncing around my head forever because I think about this guy. I wonder what happened to that guy. So as I'm researching my own life, and I go to the IMDb and I look up Class Clowns to remember Ernest Chambers' name, that name of that young writer was Judd Apatow, who is now, I just listened on the radio, he's the busiest man in Hollywood. Bridesmaids, directed tons and tons of movies. And there I was in his little apartment. Another production assistant job I had was working on an Oscar Mayer TV commercial. And they filmed it out at Zaca Lake, which was pretty cool because that's where they filmed the opening sequence of the Andy Griffith Show, where Opie throws the rock in to the lake and they watch it. And I loved Andy Griffith Show. And so I was like, here we are at Zaca Lake. and I'm a production assistant, and I didn't get anywhere near a camera. I made fires there was a bunch of little cabins that the production offices had, and it was like, make a fire. So I made fires everywhere, and then I got to drive a fancy Range Rover in and out. I got to drive the talent in and out of these remote locations. And that was the first time I had tri-tip. I thought I was going to lose my mind. It was so good. Building fires, driving expensive Range Rovers, and eating good food. Not that bad of a gig, but long hours, very long hours. Another job I had as a production assistant was working for my roommate. Was he my roommate at the time? I'm not sure if he was my roommate at the time. He was my good friend, John Orloff, and he got a job working for a rich lady who, this was her idea. It's like, you know what? I have this maid who works for me, but she does not do the laundry the way I want her to do it. So she decided to make and market a video on how to do laundry that you could give to your maid and say, here's how you do the laundry. It was hilarious. First of all, it's like, separate the laundry into 28 piles. Literally, like 28 piles. And it's like, what the? But we narrowed her down. I think I helped out with the script a little bit, maybe some of the words. But I made a shelf. I bought a bunch of props at Pier 1, and then, kept the receipt. So you'd buy these props. We'd buy they weren't props, they were just actual stuff that you would buy, and then you'd use them for the shoot to dress the set, and then the next day you would go back and you would return them all. Don't. I was working out of Raleigh Studios. Again, that's where they filmed I Love Lucy, so it's and Star Trek, I think they filmed all those things but it was Desilu Studios back then, I think. But it was Raleigh Studios. I don't know what it's called today. At one point they said, yeah, Matt, can you go over to the thing and pick up some babies? And I'm like, babies? What am I going to be picking up babies? Because it's laundry and 28 piles, and it's weird. And I'm like, okay. So I walk over to this place, and I don't know what. I'm like, I'm here to pick up the two babies, and I'm thinking that there's some moms for casting, because maybe there's some babies in the video. I don't know what's going on. And it's like a warehouse thing. I go, okay, all right, hang on a second. And he brings out these two lights. A baby is a kind of a light. It's a 500K or half of a 1K. I'm not sure what it is. I always forget what those little, So I had to pick up some babies. At this point in my career, I had to make a decision about, that was below the line stuff. Production is, there's this thing called the line. Above the line are your producers and your directors and your actors. And then there's below the line, which is your production assistants and your camera guys and your sound guys. Those are the guys below the line. And at this point, I had to make a decision whether I was going to go above the line or below the line. And it was kind of made for me because I was on this laundry video. I was talking to the director, which was my friend, and maybe later roommate. Well, not maybe. I can't remember if he was my roommate at the time. I think we were just friends. And I'm talking to him, trying to get some information. And the client, she has something to say. At this time, I didn't really have a lot of respect for this woman, because a laundry video for your maid that probably can't speak English. Anyway, I don't think it did very well. And she starts to butt in, and I go, hey, we're talking here. And she backs off, and the director's eyes get wide. And he tells that story because it's like the arrogance that I had. Because remember, I'm a film director. I'm not just some lowly PA. I can snap my fingers at a client. I was crazy. So I don't think I was suited for the below the line work. Because this is one of those things where, like, I could have probably continued to work in production, because there's lots of production jobs there. But I decided to back off and just focusing on writing and being a director. It's weird because I enjoyed I really liked all the jobs that I did. Buying Howie Mandel a present, snapping your fingers at somebody, watching a writer I think maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was seeing Judd Apatow getting a check for $5,000 for writing some, pretty lame jokes for Roseanne to say. I was like, I decided to switch over to above the line, which means more unemployment. That's the hard part about this whole thing, is you start to examine your life and you start thinking about the coulda, wouldas, and the shouldas, and maybe I should have done this. And people watching back there, you guys watching at home, you go, oh man, this guy, he should have done this. Why didn't he stick with that? That made a lot more sense. And it's hard to, it's not hard. It's easy to look back and go, oh, I should have done this, or I should have done that, or why didn't I do this? Because sometimes you look at back at your life and it's like, what was I thinking? Which actually, is what I kind of want to have on my gravestone. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends, subscribe. I know it's been a while since I've been here, and we are going to push through to the end. We're over the hump. Whew. The next jobs are super interesting, super exciting, moderately exciting. Some of them are boring. I'm going to come up with, one of them is actually a full-time job. I think that might be the next one. I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's see what it is. Oh no. Did I leave one out?